Hi, I'm Neil Beck and I was a doctor in Perth, Western Australia for 53 years. In that time I had 500,000 consultations, home and hospital visits, helped to bring 800 babies into the world, did a lot of tonsillectomies and appendicectomies, and treated 3,000 heroin addicts in an addiction clinic, then started my own addiction clinic where I treated 5,000 addicts, mostly heroin addicts, in over 40,000 consultations. And I was very interested to see what gave people the worst problems, who had the worst suffering and got the worst treatment. And that was definitely people with mental health problems which they didn't get fixed with medicine, so they took street medicine, and everything on the streets is addictive, so they became addicts and suffered terribly, and many of them died. Over the years, I came to the conclusion that the three most important things to have a good life are, first of all, to be mentally healthy, secondly, to have enough good relationships, and thirdly, to not be an addict. There's some other things as well, but they're the big three. The other things include having high endorphins chemistry. Endorphins are endogenous morphines that our brain and glands produce to control pain and distress. And endorphins also manage our immune system, and it's very important to have a strong immune system. Our immune system is cells and antibodies and chemicals in every part of our body that fight infections, allergies, inflammation, autoimmune diseases and cancers. Sadly, I reached the conclusion that there were never going to be enough mental health care workers to help all the people that needed mental health care help. So more and more of them were becoming addicts. Originally in Perth, which is one of the most remote cities in the world, we only had alcohol and tobacco. But in the late 1990s, with increased transport, air transport, we got heroin, and we had a very big, bad heroin epidemic. And we seem to be going backwards. The waiting lists at mental health clinics and addiction clinics were getting longer, and people were getting worse when they had to wait. And I reached the conclusion that the problem was that mental health workers only had two main tools, and those two main tools both had two serious problems. The first tool was medicines, and so many medicines were addictive. So many mental health medicines were addictive. The common mental health problems, the commonest are worry, anxiety, which includes general anxiety, social anxiety, panic attacks, and obsessive compulsive disorder, and many phobias. And all the medicines for worry, anxiety disorders were addictive. Another common problem was sleep disorders, and all the sleep medicines were addictive. I remember many people who, well, particularly I remember one man who was taking 17 Stilnox. Stilnox is the same as Ambien, and when I looked it up, Ambien was the most commonly prescribed medicine in America for 3 years in a row. And that wasn't because it was very good, it was because it was addictive. Another important mental health condition is ADD, ADHD, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, and the three main medicines for that were addictive. That's Ritalin, dexamphetamine, and Adderall, all addictive. It's caused terrible problems. One year I saw 700 heroin addicts, and a third of them had ADD, ADHD. And it was such a problem because once they started to take addictive substances, the mental health clinics wouldn't see them. Even though it was the mental health problems that caused the addiction, they couldn't get treatment for their mental health because the free government clinics would not see them, and they couldn't afford the private doctors. And the other problem with medicines was they're too slow. People who take medicines for mental health problems want to get better quickly and be able to stop their medicines. But the people who make the medicines want them to go on taking medicine for as long as possible and to never get better. So they did two things. They make the medicines, as many medicines as they can, addictive, and they also make them too slow. Most medicines come as tablets or capsules, and when you swallow a tablet or a capsule, it takes half an hour to an hour to go right down your gut and start to be absorbed into the bloodstream and start to go to where it's needed and give you relief. Half an hour to an hour to start to work, and 1 to 2 hours before it's working strongly, and that's just too slow when you are trying to avoid social phobia or panic attacks, or you're trying not to smoke or not to drink alcohol or not to take heroin. You need medicine that works very fast. You need medicine that you can get fast, that you can take fast, and that works fast, and that's effective. And that's just not how the pharmaceutical industry produced medicines. The other tool that mental health workers had was talk therapy, counseling, psychotherapy, CBT, call it what you like, basically talking to the patient. And that had two big problems. One, it's too slow. When you see a new patient with an addiction and have to try to sort out the addiction and the underlying mental health causes, you need an hour. And an hour is just too long, it's just too slow, because you then need to see them for half an hour or three-quarters of an hour every week for weeks and weeks or months and months. We just don't have that much time. So one problem with talk therapy is it's too slow, and the other problem is it's too costly. To be a therapist, you have to be an intelligent person with at least a 4-year Bachelor of Psychology from a university, but many psychologists have a 6 or 7 year PhD degree from a university, and to be a psychiatrist you have to have a 6-year general medical degree, then a couple of years general medical training, then 3, 4 or 5 years of postgraduate psychiatric training, so 10 or 12 years to become a psychiatrist. So people who do that, who are smart enough and have spent the time to get those training, need to be paid well. They deserve to be paid well, and if we don't pay them well, we'll have even less of them. So the only two main tools for mental health and addiction: medicines, so many of which are addictive and which work too slowly because they're tablets or capsules you swallow, and talk therapy, which is too slow. It's just too slow talking to people, and it's too costly because therapists all have to have such a long that they have to be paid well. So something that takes a lot of time and is costly is just hard to get. So over 27 years I developed 8 tools. Everything we do today we do with tools. Tools help us to do so many things better, faster, cheaper than we used to do without tools or with primitive tools, when we just had a spade and a wheelbarrow and a saw and a hammer, instead of having a tractor or and a front end loader or electric drills and saws and so on. So lots of tools, and I thought that tools were what was needed, and the tools needed to be simple enough and efficient enough that troubled people could do a lot of self-help. So my tools, some which came and went and were modified, were videos. Originally 10-minute, 12-minute videos, 31 of them. Now I've got 83 under a minute videos because people want to watch TikTok fast type videos. The second tool was websites. My first, well, not my first, but my second website was smilefixit.com. Sorry, that's my third. My second one was mentalhealthvideos.a-to-z.com, which was about 14 pages and fairly detailed, but people wanted a shorter one, so now I've also got smilefixit.com. Smilefixit.com, got everything on one page, and you can just tap the links to whatever you need more detail on. The third thing was a 20-question checklist, which enabled me to get an assistant to start with the patient and get a lot of information just by asking them the 20 questions and writing the answers. And that saved me a lot of time because I got so busy I had to really go fast. But then checklists are somewhat cumbersome. People still have to come to the clinic, and I need an assistant to do it. So then eventually we made the Mental Fix-It app. Apps are a lot of work, they're very expensive, but an app was what was needed, and we made the Mental Fix-It app. But unfortunately, as with many things I do, I made it too long and complicated. So the Mental Fix-It app asked 38 questions which covered every aspect of mental health and addiction, and took about 10 minutes to tap your choice of answers for each of the questions. And that was too slow. People wanted it faster. So then we just took the 19 most important questions and made it a 5-minute check. But even that's too long, and now we're working on a 2-minute check, which is organized in a way that we still end up asking 33 questions, but you can start doing it in 2 minutes, and we'll have that up in the next month or so. First of all on Android, and then on iPhones. The present 5-minute Mental Fix-It app is available on both Android and iPhone, and it's free. You just go to your phone's keyboard and tap the App Store or the Google Play button, and in a few seconds download the app, and then the questions come up and you tap your choice of answers to each question, and as you tap your last answers to the last question, an instant report comes up on the screen. The instant report tells you which 6 of our 1-minute videos will most help you with the problems that you scored most highly on. Whatever was a problem and you thought it was a big problem, so you tapped on it as a big problem and it had a high score, they came up first. The 6 videos that would most help your particular problems most, which you could watch immediately on your phone. And then the instant report said which medicines would be likely to help you most, but of course you have to get a prescription from a doctor to do that, but a lot of people like to know which medicines they should look up on Google, consult Dr. Google, and perhaps talk to other people about. The third thing the instant report shows is a complete list of all the things that you tapped as a problem. One of the big problems with slow talk therapy is it's so slow that you usually only get to the first 1 or 2 big problems. But people who've got 1 or 2 big problems have always got 2, 3 or 4 smaller problems, and you're not going to get completely better until all of your problems have been found and fixed. Well, the Mental Fix It App finds everything, and it gives you a complete list in the instant report of all the things that you consider to be a problem, the highest scoring to the lowest scoring. And sometimes it's easier to start to fix the smaller problems than to fix the big problems, which can be just too much for you. The fourth item on the instant report, which is only on the iPhone version. We didn't manage to get it on the Android version, but it will be on the new Android version. The 6th item is a complete list of all the problems. Sorry, I've already said that. The 4th item is the total scores each time. Every time you do it, the app check adds up the scores of all your problems and gives you a total score, and then on the iPhone it puts that into a graph of all your total scores. So if you do the app check every day or 2, which we recommend, you've soon got a graph of total scores which tells you whether you're getting better or not. You sort of know, but this is a much more exact way of knowing what progress you're making and where you're making the progress and where you're not making the progress, which then tells you whether the treatment you're on is right and you should continue it, or you're not getting better and you need to get different treatment. The third tool. The fourth tool is live streaming, and which is what we're doing now, because a lot of people like to watch live streaming. So I do about an hour's live streaming on Wednesday, Friday and Saturday evening and Sunday morning. Wednesday, Friday, Saturday evening at 7 p.m. Perth time, which is 9 p.m. Sydney and Melbourne time, and sadly it's 7 a.m. New York time and 4 a.m. LA time, and we get quite a few viewers from the US and from London and Norway and Sweden. So I switched the Sunday session to 9 a.m. Perth time, which is in the evening in the Northern Hemisphere, which is a much more user-friendly time, and we may have to switch one of the other times for that. The 5th tool is powder medicine. Why powder medicine? It's because if you drop powder medicine on your tongue and suck it, don't swallow it, and it's absorbed through your tongue, it starts to work in 5 minutes. Your tongue is red because the blood vessels are so close to the surface, and if you sprinkle thousands of tiny grains of medicine powder on your tongue and suck it. It gets into the bloodstream and to your brain starting in 5 minutes and strongly in 10 to 15 minutes. And that's far more helpful than starting in half an hour to an hour with swallowed tablets and capsules. And also, after you've been doing it for a couple of weeks, your body connects the taste of the medicine with getting better, and then you get what's called taste conditioning, and as soon as you taste the medicine you start to get better. It's a placebo effect, but it's a real effect. You really start getting better as soon as you taste the medicine, as soon as you drop it on your tongue and it reaches the taste buds on the back of your tongue. And also with powder, it's more flexible. The size of the dose is very important. If you don't get enough of a medicine, it doesn't work very well. If you get too much, you get side effects. And with tablets, okay, they might make 2 different strengths, or capsules 2 different strengths. Tablets, you might be able to break them in halves, but they're not flexible enough to get the exact right amount for you, which depends on your weight or body mass, how well you absorb it, how quickly you burn it, how quickly you excrete it, because the medicines are foreign chemicals which your liver starts to break down and excrete, and which your kidneys excrete. So powder gives us flexibility for people to find exactly what the best amount is for them, that gives them the best result with the least side effects. And also with powder, it's easy to mix 2, 3 or 4 powders together, because if someone's an addict, they've got this terrible craving for the drug they're addicted to, but they also got terrible bad feelings from the mental disorders, usually 2, maybe 3, that caused them to take street drugs in the first place. And in the early days, I sometimes prescribed people 3 different medicine tablets or capsules, but they tended to get them mixed up, and it was very expensive because each prescription for a tablet cost a separate amount. But I can mix 2, 3 or 4 powders together, and you can take them all at once, and they're not much more costly than 1 powder on its own, and much less costly than 3 medicines. The 6th tool is pocket powder dispensers, because having powder in a bottle with a little scoop was a bit cumbersome, and sometimes not exact, but so I had 1,000 of these made, which have got the powder in them, and you have them in your pocket, and as soon as you feel the problem starting, even if you're driving the car, you can just whiz it out and drop the powder on your tongue and suck it, and in 5 minutes it's starting to work, in 10 to 15 minutes it's working strongly, and in a couple of weeks it's working in seconds. The 7th tool was a heartbeat meditation aid. Meditation is so valuable for people with mental health disorders, valuable for everyone who has any degree of stress at work and so on. But meditation is very hard to learn for the people who most need to do meditation. And I just a few years ago realized that if I cut a stethoscope short, and that's the hearing part, people can listen to their heart. And what you do with meditation is you focus on something, and usually the people who teach meditation teach you to focus on a word or focus on your breathing, and while you're focusing on that you forget everything else, and you have a rest, you have a break, you have a little holiday from all your troubles, and you feel stronger and happier and clearer. But it's very hard. Your breathing or a word's not very attention grabbing, but listening to your loud, strong, interesting heartbeat sounds is good. So if you want one of those we'll send you one for $25 plus postage anywhere in the world. And the eighth tool is a powder, is a fruit powder dispenser. It's just a bigger powder pocket dispenser. The medicine dispensers only give a small amount of powder, not enough for a good taste, but 1 cubic millimeter of a lovely fruit powder, strawberry, blueberry, vanilla is my favorite, whatever you like. If you've got that in your pocket, it helps you with some addictions and with making and breaking habits. You can, if you think of a habit or a drug that you don't want to do but you do want to do, you just whiz that out and put a lovely taste of your favorite powder on your tongue and suck it and concentrate on that lovely taste and try not to think about the thing that you don't want to do. And when the taste starts to fade, have another lot of the powder and another lot, because the way that you break addictions or you break habits is you delay them and you do less of them, and that weakens the underlying chemical and electrical messages of the addiction or the habit. When you delay and do less, you weaken the messages. When the messages are weaker, you can delay a bit longer. Or to make a habit, if you are trying to make a habit and maybe it's exercise and you don't like exercise that much, but every time you think about doing the new habit, you drop some lovely powder on your tongue, or you every time you actually do the new habit, you do that, and the lovely taste makes it easier for you to do the new habit, and the more often you do the new habit, the quicker it becomes a habit. And now I want to tell you about my 10th tool. The 9th tool is, I call phone treasure, but it's on the back burner at the moment because I discovered the 10th tool, which I think is so important, and I hope this one. So I'm an old timer, you can see that. I'm very old, so it's taken me a long time to get to the 10th tool, and I think the 10th tool is going to be the best of all of them. What is it? The 10th tool is what I call a scroll plus. You can scroll it, because everybody loves scrolling. I don't know why I didn't realize that years ago, but TikTok has more than a billion visitors every month, and a lot of them just scroll. Because, the ChatGPT search said that people scroll on TikTok because it gives them a little lift, it gives them a little high, and also it triggers their creativity, and also it's addictive. Of course it's addictive. One of my closest friends, whose wife is a psychiatrist, is addicted to scrolling TikTok. Scrolling, that's what we've got to do. So I mentioned that with the app, Mental Fix It app, we had 38 questions, and then we cut that to 19 questions, but now I've got 81 items about mental health and addiction, and I've got them on a scroll, and you can scroll through just the one-liners, 81 in about 5 minutes. And for each of those items there's also a 6 to a 16-minute video, and if you like, you can scroll all those videos. It takes about 12 or 13 minutes. Or what you can do is you can scroll the words, which is faster, and when you see an item that you think, oh, I'd like to know a bit more about that, well, then you just tap the 6 to 16 minute video, a 6 to 16 second video, and if you like that 6 to 16 second video, you can then tap a 1 minute video, and the 1 minute video on the subject that's important to you, you can learn a lot in 1 minute. But if you do that 1 minute video at the end, it gives you the Mental Fix It app, which is soon going to be 2 minutes, not 5 minutes. So you do the 2 minute Mental Fix It app, and it tells you 6 1 minute videos that cover all of your problems best, and you can watch them straight away. So it's going to be a while before we get this up. We've got a lot on our plate, but I'd just like to read you. The first one is, to have a happy, healthy life, have a lot of good feelings. The second one is, we produce 25 feel-good chemicals in our brain, glands and gut. A third one, our feel-good chemicals also boost our disease-fighting immune system, which keeps us healthy. The fourth one, so to be both happy and healthy, keep your feel-good chemistry strong. Then build a list of safe feel-good things, and or download our phone treasure, which is tool 9, which will be coming. Another one, to make every day good, develop happy morning habits. I've got about 4 habits. Sometimes you get up feeling a bit low and slow, especially when you're as old as me. And my favourite things play The Voice Kids, or Britain's Got Talent, or America's Got Talent, or Colombo has Got Talent, or there's another European country that I really love. So wonderful, cheerful music, beautiful kids singing so beautifully, and or performing in other ways. Photos. Look at photos of your children or your grandchildren or your girlfriend or whatever. Of course, something nice tastes, nice food, nice coffee, but no sugar and no fat, please. Exercise. My little exercise machine is 3 meters from here, out on my front veranda, but I've got plans, if I live long enough, to make an even better one. When I researched exercise, and I decided that the exercise machine had to exercise your arms, your legs, your spine, your heart and your lungs all at once. So that was a push-pull type thing, and there were 2. There were only 2, and there was an American one for $7,200 US, and there was a Chinese one for 149 Australian dollars. So I bought the 149 Australian dollar ones, and that was in that was 9 years ago, and it's a bit the worse for wear now, but when I get a chance with one of my handy sons, we'll make one, and I want to make it so nice that it's a piece of classy indoor furniture which you can have next to your television or next to your desk, in your family room or in your office or anywhere, because convenience is so important. So, to make every day good, develop happy morning habits. and smile often, as smiling boosts your production of feel-good chemicals. We know that we smile when our 25 feel-good chemicals are high. We smile or we laugh, but what we didn't know until more recently is that when we smile or laugh, our brain and glands and gut produce even more happy chemicals, and it's very important in the social situation. You smile, then you feel better. The person you smiled at smiles back, then they feel better, and the whole thing is better. So smile as often as you can to produce feel-good chemicals. So we have good feelings. Feelings are the most important things in our life. There's nothing more important than feelings. They govern everything. And we have nice feelings, we have warning feelings, we have nasty feelings, and we have dangerous pleasure feelings. So what are warning feelings? Warning feelings are the feelings that tell you that there's something wrong with your life which you need to correct. And basically there's four of them. There's carefulness, which is sort of anxiety, worry. Carefulness, which says that this is dangerous territory, be careful. That's a warning feeling. Loneliness. Loneliness tells us that we don't have enough relationships. That's very important. If we didn't feel loneliness, we wouldn't know that we didn't have enough good relationships. Anger. Anger is a terrible thing in a lot of cases, but it is one of our warning feelings. When something is done that's wrong, or is not done that should have been done, it's maybe normal, very natural to get angry, and that anger helps you to do whatever is needed to correct it. And the fourth warning feeling is sadness, because we need to know that sometimes when we have sad losses, a member of the family or a friend dies, we need to grieve. If we don't grieve, if we just carry on as if nothing happened, that's in the back of our mind, and that will go on troubling us for years and years and years. So sadness, we don't dwell on the sadness. We say, we've lost something important to us, we must grieve. So warning feelings are not very nice, but they make our life safer and they make our life better. Now, it's important to know that suppressing warning feelings can be very damaging. The commonest example of suppressing warning feelings is with people in bad situations who have to suppress their anger, because if they were angry they might be beaten or hurt in some way, and that suppressing anger when there's things that make you angry causes great disruption of your internal emotional feelings. One of the most damaging things you can do is to be in a situation which makes you very angry and having to suppress it, particularly if that continues. And the other thing to know about warning feelings is if you ignore them and they go on and on and on, they'll become bad feeling habits. If you're lonely because you've lost a partner and you feel lonely and you do nothing about it and it goes on and on and on, that you're lonely and you feel lonely, then that loneliness becomes a bad feeling habit. So when you get a warning feeling, do something about it. Fix the problem. And another item out of my 81 items is to have a happy, healthy life. The most important thing we can do is to grow our mental health. Let me say that again. Mental health is the most important thing anyone can have. I mean, there are probably third world countries where getting something to eat and shelter from the rain and the storms is more important. But in a developed country like Australia or America or Canada or the UK or many European countries, if you've got mental health, you can get everything else. If you haven't got mental health, you could starve with food all around you. Mental health is so important. So one of my 81 sayings, probably the most important of them, is to have a happy, healthy life. The most important thing we can do is to grow our mental health. Mental health is good feelings, good thinking, good habits, and normal warning feelings and no bad habits. Good mental health, you got rid of the bad habits. You want to see your feelings? Look in the mirror, because your feelings are on your face. To fix bad feelings, often do 2-minute mental fix-it app checks and watch the 1-minute videos it recommends. Now, at present it's a 4 or 5-minute check, but soon it's going to be a 2-minute check. So to fix bad feelings, often do 2-minute mental fix-it app checks and watch the 6 1-minute videos it recommends. New non-addictive low-cost powder medicines now cut bad feelings faster and better than street drugs. Don't stay troubled because of your family. Some people stay troubled in troubled families because they'd feel bad if they were happier than their brothers or sisters or mother or father. It's a sort of very strange but very real misguided loyalty. So don't stay troubled because of your family. Download the Mental Fix-It app, do the check, show them your report, watch the 6 1-minute videos the report recommends together, then get them to do to download and do the Mental Fix-It app. To fix big impossible problems, first fix small fixable problems. To fix big impossible problems, first fix small fixable problems. Sometimes problems are so great that we just can't face them, and it paralyzes us and we just go downhill. But don't let that happen to you. Do the checklist, get the list of your problems, ignore the big bad one you can't face and fix some of the little ones. Every little one you fix, you'll feel better, you'll feel happier, you'll be a little bit better problem solver. And by the time you've fixed 3 or 4 small ones, you'll feel better enough and strong enough and have enough experience at solving problems and getting helpers to be able to deal with the big one. We can only think about one thing at a time, but we can feel many things at once. So feeling is faster and often more accurate than thinking. When I was a boy, almost nobody went to university, or almost